Hello my fellow Inklings and Octolings. Today we are going to dive into creating a Splatoon 3 side order color chip tier list. Many chips are incredible while some are, let's say, mediocre. Let's figure out what is the best and which is the worst. So let's splash right on in, shall we? We're gonna go off by palette color to keep things simple. We have S, A, B, C, D, and finally undercover umbrella tier, and I'm sure you know what that means. So, starting off, we have ink damage. Increases damage dealt by your weapons and the pearl drone. Personally, I think I'll put this in B tier because I guess for like the main aspect, for the main firing from your main weapon, like there's already a hack for that, so I don't really see like too much. Like it's still good, but like I think it could be a little better. Splash damage, however, increases damage by explosions from like when you kill the enemy, so I also have to put that in B tier. It's still pretty good, honestly. I might put it above ink damage. It just works, I think, a little bit better. Sound wave damage, I think is gonna go in C because the damage dealt by the waves from Killer Whale or like the pearl drone, like sometimes you're gonna have like runs you don't even need them, so I wouldn't see why you would really need it. Main firing speed, that's going straight up to A tier. If you can like crank out Luna Blaster and like get like full max firing speed on that thing goes crazy. Horizontal slash speed, this only is for Splatana Stamper, so I'm not exactly sure if this is like super high or not. I might have to put it in C tier because it's only just for that weapon, and it like doesn't do much anyway because it does consume your ink really fast. It's not the best thing in the world, but still pretty funny. Splatling Barrage, it does shoot more bullets, but only for like splatling. I will say it's better than the horizontal slash speed. I think it might be slightly better than that, so I think it's in between sound wave damage and horizontal slash speed. Next we have main damage close. Honestly, I think B tier for this one. It's pretty good. Like I said, you already have a hack for that, for increasing damage, but I think it might go right here. And then same thing with distant. Distant is probably gonna be just a little bit below. I think closer because like the enemies are gonna swarm you, so closer is probably better. However, okay, next one here, poison ink. That's going straight up to A tier because once you get a ton of that poison ink, the damage that like is dealt to enemies is like so ridiculous. It's pretty good. That's why I'm putting up straight into A tier. Alright, next we're gonna go into the support chip palette. And our first one is ink recovery rate. Just increases the refill rate. I'm gonna have to say that's gonna go in B tier. And it is pretty nice when you wanna like get some more ink and stuff, but I think it's just fine. Ink Saver main, this does do pretty well, like especially if you have like other chips that are like consuming your ink like really fast, like Splatana, like with like a ton of like horizontal slash speed. So I think that's also gonna be higher up in B tier, maybe just by a little bit, just by a tad bit. Ink Saver sub, okay, like honestly you're not gonna use sub too often. Like personally, I don't use a sub weapon too often unless you're going for like a suction bomb run, then maybe you want that. But I'm gonna put this kind of right next to Ink Saver main as well. Splat ink recovery. So like when you defeat enemies, it refills your ink, which is pretty good. And I'm gonna put that higher up I think a little bit. That's once you get like that max out, it's pretty good. Sticky ink. Sticky ink. Actually, I'm putting sticky ink in A tier because if you can get poison ink and sticky ink in the same combination, that's gonna be really good because then you can they're just stuck in your ink and they're also taking damage. So sticky ink is just amazingly incredible. Knockback. I'm actually putting knockback in D tier. I think knockback is absolutely garbage. Like, especially with Octobrush. Octobrush is so terrible because if you start getting more knockback chips, then you're just gonna be knocking back your enemies. Yes, you could knock them over the edge, but you won't be killing your enemies unless you have the chance to. But like with Octobrush, you'll just be knocking them away, and then you'll just get swarmed later. So it's really, really, really bad in my opinion. Explosion knockback is an interesting one though. I do kind of like this one. I'm gonna put this one higher up in C tier actually, because like, yeah, explosions are gonna be pretty good for like when there's like an objective you need to get and it explodes, and yes, it'll be good for knocking away enemies. I think that's just better than regular knockback. And next we have the shot spread reduction. This one's pretty good, I feel like, especially for your splatter shot or anything like that. That's pretty good. I'd put this in I put this in the bottom of B tier, I think, because that's not bad. Okay, for all of you Charger speedrunner players, we're gonna put homing shots in S tier because that is for the speedrunning tactics for the Splat Charger users. I know you're gonna complain if I don't put that in S, so we're gonna put that straight up in S tier. Also quick charge for anything for the Splat Charger, we're also gonna put that in S tier. That just goes insanely well for speedrunners. That is straight up to S tier. The no launch Brella. Yeah, sure. If you don't want to use your Brella to shoot out to kill enemies, I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm gonna put this in C tier, the high part of C tier. It just doesn't feel like the greatest thing because if you want to use your Brella and like shoot it out to defeat enemies, then you just don't have that option anymore. So I feel like just the options are very limited when it comes to that. Brella cooldown. I absolutely had the hardest time 100%ing Brella cooldown because it just didn't have the common chip palette color for its kit. So I do not like the cooldown one. It's not great unless you don't have the no launch Brella. I'm putting this one in D tier. I feel like this one's not great. It really is not the best. Mid-fire charge. Yeah, you can hold charges like with Stringer and Splatling. That's not bad. It's just Nautilus. So I think this one goes in B tier. I think it goes probably above main. I think maybe just a little bit below the main damage here. It's still pretty nice, actually. And next, we're getting into the range chip palette. First off, we have the main range. So it just increases your main range, I guess. This is actually pretty insane. I'm probably going to put this right up into A tier. Above the poisoning, because once you can get like those far distance shots, those are pretty good, and you can get like speed runs and stuff with that too. The splash radius by explosions, sure, if you're using other chips to help you with that, like let's say explosion knockback and stuff like that, sure. I'm gonna probably put that in B tier. That's not bad if you want to get more enemies to blow up. Main piercing. I'm putting main piercing straight in A tier. It deserves there. Once you get enough main piercing, you can like destroy swarms of enemies. it deserves to be up in A tier. It should probably go, I'd say right above the Poison Sticky. Next, we have Ink Attack Size. This is also good for getting more attacks on enemies and stuff. I'm probably going to put this in the high end of B tier. Main Ink Coverage. This one's good for, like, turfing, I guess. Sure, it's good for zones. It's alright. Honestly, you could probably do without this, unless you want to capture zones easily. So I'm gonna put this like probably in the lower part of B tier. I think it goes there. Next we have Rush Ink Coverage. This only works for like roller and brush. It sure is better for roller, but for brush you're not gonna get as much paint. And honestly, it's just not the greatest. So I'm gonna put it in top of C. The special charge up is actually, this is really good to gain your special really fast. This is pretty good. I'm gonna put this in the bottom of A tier. That's a pretty good one to have if you want to gain your special really quickly. The drone, turf drone gauge, so when you paint, like, it increases the fill rate. Sure, yeah, I guess it's alright. I'm gonna probably put this in the middle of B tier. I think that deserves a spot there. The Turf Lucky Chain, yeah, if you're painting a lot to gain your Lucky Chain, honestly, the Lucky Chain's better off when you're defeating enemies as fast as you can. So, I personally don't like the Turf Lucky Chain, unless you can, like, paint enough of it. I'm not sure, like, I'd say middle of C, in my opinion. Hindrance damage, increases damage dealt to enemies when they are slowed by your ink or toxic mist. I'd say that probably goes, I think maybe towards, yeah, somewhere around B tier. I think it's pretty nice in that category. So it just helps with the damage and stuff. So that's always great. Next, we are going to go into the mobility chip palette. Swim speed up. Oh, everyone loves swim speed. You're going around real fast. We'll put that in, I'd say, B tier. We're having a lot in B tier. But yeah, that's gonna have to go there. Run speed, I don't think is as important. So put at bottom of B. Moving ink speed. Okay, for brushes, this goes crazy, honestly, with brush players are cooking when they got this. So I'm gonna put this a little further up in B tier. The extra dodge roll, basically become the Grizzco Dualies, partway with the 9 rolls. An extra dodge roll isn't bad. Depends on what you combine it with. If you combine it with other stuff, that'll be like the explosion dodge roll, then that would be good. I'll put this in a little bit higher in B tier. The charge storage is not bad. Like, it's okay. Honestly, you don't really need it that much, I feel like, because you're just being swarmed by enemies. So I'm gonna have to put it in C tier. It's not the greatest, I feel like. Rush attack. Like Reef Slider and Roller and Brush. Sure, Roller can do really well with it, but Brush, not as great. Well, actually, now that I say that, maxing this and rolling it with Brush is not bad either. That's pretty good. But on its own, it's just kind of meh, so I'll just put it at the bottom of B tier. Next we have Rush Knockback. Sure, that's just okay. I'm putting that in top of C. It's just alright. Squid Attack. Who uses this? I barely use this in my runs. Like, I only use it a couple times. I barely even remembered it existed. So I don't see why you would go and use this very often. It just seems kind of pointless. So I am gonna put this, since I feel like it's pointless, I'm putting this on the top of D tier. It just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's deserve of use. Dodge roll attack, we're gonna put that with extra dodge roll. It just works really well with extra dodge roll, so we're gonna go with that. Lunge attack, this is only for Splatana, so it's, I don't know. The lunge attack, sure, it causes a lunge with charged Splatana swipe to deal damage. Sure. We'll put that in the bottom of C. I don't know. It's only for Splatana, so it's like not the greatest. Next we have mobile special charge. So, okay, this one's insane for Octobrush. If you can get like super speed on brush, then this is a good one. And you're constantly moving. So I'm gonna put this actually in the bottom of A tier. That's pretty good. It's not bad. It's pretty nice. Next we have mobile drone gauge. The drone gauge, okay, if you're doing a drone run, well, unless if you're doing like a drone run and you want Pearl to do everything for you, then this is pretty good. I'm gonna put that on the top of B because it's Pearl's really helpful for that. Last one for mobility chips is the mobile ink recovery. Refills your ink while moving. Sure, that's just as alright. I'm gonna probably put that in B tier as well. It's just okay. Next we have the Lucky Chip palette. Personally, I really like the Lucky Chips. I think it's the best palette chip color in the game. So first off, Armor Drop. If you have, Armor Drop is good if you have the hacks where if you can wear multiple at the same time. I'm probably gonna put this in bottom of B tier because depending on like how many hacks you have, sure, it's good. But it also saves you from dying, so that's also good too. Ink Bottle Drop is good for recovering your ink really quickly. So I'm gonna put that in. I think this should deserve bottom of A tier because it's really good for gaining your ink fast enough. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm putting it in somewhere towards mid of B tier actually, because I don't think it deserves A tier. It's not that good. Okay, Can Special Drop, on the other hand, I'm putting that in S tier. Reason being, you just need 2 of them, and if you get max canned special drop, bam, you gain special. You can just spam specials the entire game. Honestly, it deserves the S tier spot. Drone battery drop. This kind of depends if you're planning to use the drone. The drone, like, honestly, there's so many other chips that are better than this. So I'm gonna put this in mid of C tier. Lucky Bomb Drop, that goes probably to top of A tier. Or not A, B. I think it deserves B. Because, like, it just helps with, like, all that chip damage. Disc Piece Drop? Honestly, I'm gonna put this in D tier. Because I know it might be mad at me for this one, but Disc Piece Drop just seems kind of useless sometimes. And plus, if you're using other Lucky Chip to get your items, then if you just use that, then you're just reducing the amount of chances to get those items. So it just doesn't feel right. The Lucky Chain Window, I could care less for Lucky Chain Window. All you have to do is just kill stuff fast enough. So honestly, I don't feel like this deserves it, especially when you're in the final boss fight. I'm putting an Undercover Brella tier. Shame me all you want, but that's going straight into Undercover Brella tier. I personally don't like that. Max Lucky Chain, however, that one's not bad either. I think that one goes top C tier. Next we have the drone. This is the last one. We have the drone Splat Bomb. Splat Bomb, we have, let's say we put that in bottom of B tier, because honestly it's just a one explosion thing and it's done. Burst Bomb, this one's just okay. It's just meh. I'm gonna put this in middle of C tier. It's just not that high up for me. Drone Killer Whale, this is actually deserves to be in A tier. A tier. It does really well for getting maximum damage efficiency. That's pretty good. Okay, Drone Ink Strike, straight to S tier. I don't care. Ink Strike is so good for the drone chips. It just deserves to be up there in S tier. Drone Ink Mine. Honestly, Ink Mine's kind of garbage. I'm putting this in D tier. It's just kind of mid. I don't think it deserves to be as high as a lot of other stuff. Oh, now you've got me talking about Drone Sprinkler. Oh my goodness. How does anybody find Drone Sprinkler, like, effective at all? Even with max, like, Drone Sprinkler, when it's going on loop, it barely does anything, in my opinion. It's going in the bottom of Undercover Umbrella tier. I find it terrible. I don't know why. I'm sorry. It just doesn't appeal to me. Drone Items. Okay, items is not bad, especially when you, like, are in need of something. I think Drone Items is not bad. I think it should probably be in mid of B tier. I think it's not bad. Drone Gauge Charge. It does increase the drone fill rate. I think this one's not bad, so I'm gonna put this in towards the top of B tier. I think that should be good. And then last but not least, we have the Splat Drone Gauge. By defeating enemies, you can fill up the gauge, which this is really good too. Honestly, this probably deserves to be next up in the higher part of B tier as well. I feel like that's where it deserves to be here. And with that, folks, there you have it, my side order color chip tier list. If you have an opinion you would like to share, feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, while you're there, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all soon.